classes. So today we are back with Unit 5 of the book Gulmohar. The name of the chapter is The Mask. The Mask story has been written by Satyajit Ray. He was a master storyteller who excelled at both writing stories and directing films. So he used to write the stories as well as he used to direct the films also. He created two of the most famous characters in Bengali fiction. In his Bengali stories, fictions are the long stories in which Feluda, the sleuth, and Professor Shonku, the scientist, right? His stories are simple and entertaining also. Now we come to the background of the story, that is Feluda or Pradosh Chandra Mitra is an amateur sleuth. Amateur sleuth is a person who works as a detective just as a choice, but not as a job. It's not their job to be a detective, but they work as a detective only by a choice, hobby, right? Feluda or Pradosh Chandra Mitra is an amateur sleuth who is a character in the series of Bengali detective fiction novels and short stories which were written by Satyajit Ray. So whatever the stories were written by Satyajit Ray in Bengali, so these here, they were Feluda or Pradosh Chandra Mitra. He was a character who is often seen in his fiction novels and short stories. So he makes his first appearance in the story. Topshe is Feluda's cousin and narrator of the story. So who is the narrator of the story? That is Topshe, and she is Feluda's cousin. He accompanies, Topshe is a boy, and he accompanies Feluda on all his adventures. Whatever the adventures he used to do, Topshe he used to go with him. Feluda and Topshe are on a holiday in Darjeeling when this incident occurs. So the incidents which we are going to discuss here. So when this incident occurred, Feluda and Topsy, they were on a holiday in Darjeeling. So this incident occurred in Darjeeling. Now, let us start with the story. I had accidentally overheard a disturbing conversation between Rajan Babu and a friend of his when I was sitting in the mall and had reported to Feluda that there seemed to be something to investigate. So, who is I here? I is Topshe. Now, Topshe says that accidentally I overheard. Overheard मतलब कि मैंने सुन लिया. किसी की conversation को चुपके से सुन लेना. That is accidentally overheard. So, I had accidentally overheard a disturbing conversation between Rajan Babu and his friend. So, Rajan Babu and his friend were having a little conversation which seemed to him disturbing one. So where he heard it? In the mall, when he was sitting in the mall. And then when he came back, he reported it to Feluda that there is something suspicious which we need to investigate. So Rajan Babu, an amiable old man. Amiable, who is amiable? Jolly natured, friendly person. So Rajan Babu was an amiable old man. He was living in a peaceful, retired life in Darjeeling. Recently, he had taken a paying guest, Tinkuri Babu, on the recommendation of a dear friend. So, this Rajan Babu, he was a friendly old man, amiable old man, and he was living a very peaceful, retired life in Darjeeling. He was living alone, and he had taken one paying guest. Why he had taken the paying guest? Because one of his friends, he recommended him. कि उसको रख लो, उसने बोला था. So, who was the paying guest? It was Tinkuri Babu. Tinkuri Babu had a special weakness for cheroot. What is cheroot? Cheroot is a kind of cigar. So special weakness मतलब कि वो cigar ज़रूर पीता ही पीता था, उसके बिना वो रह नहीं सकता था. So cheroot cigar. And before moving into Rajan Babu's house, he had made sure that Rajan Babu had no objection to it. So इससे पहले कि वो उनके घर में जाता, उसने ये पता कर लिया था कि राजन बाबू को cheroot cigar से कोई objection नहीं है. Right? Then come to the next page. Third paragraph. A few days ago, Rajan Babu had received a threatening letter by post. It had words not written but cut out from newspapers and books. What was written there? Be prepared to pay for your sins, is all that it said. So, see, after a few days, Rajan Babu had received a threatening letter. Threatening letter mila. And see, the writer of the letter, he's so smart that he should not catch out from his handwriting. So he just cut out the cutting from the newspapers on which these words were written. He cut out different words from the newspapers and books, and then he arranged them and he sent this in a letter. Be prepared to pay for your sins. Only this was written in the threatening letter. When we visited Rajan Babu to inquire about it, Feluda asked, have you a reason to suspect anyone? So जब उनके घर में गए पूछने के लिए, फेलुडा बोला कि is there anyone जिस पे आपको शक है? Absolutely not. I don't remember harming anyone any time. बोला मेरे को तो कभी याद भी नहीं है कि मैंने कभी किसी को कोई हार्म पहुंचाया हो. Does anyone visit you regularly? बोला कोई आपके पास रोज रोज आता है? Well, I don't get too many visitors. Dr. Phony Mitra comes occasionally only when I am ill. Now, who visits his house occasionally? That is Dr. Phony Mitra, only then when he was ill. Now, after some investigation, Feluda said to me, Dr. Phony Mitra could be the one who sent the letter. अब क्या है? फेलुडा बोला कि डॉक्टर फोनी मेहता भी हो सकते हैं, who has sent this letter to you. Then he seems to be in need of money as he doesn't have a good practice. So उसके ऊपर शक करने लग जाते हैं, बोलते हैं कि उन लगता है उनको पैसों की ज़रूरत होगी क्योंकि आजकल उनकी अच्छी प्रैक्टिस नहीं हो रही है, अच्छे कस्टमर्स नहीं आ रहे, अच्छे पेशेंट्स नहीं आ रहे उनके पास जो उनको पैसे दे सके. A letter like this would make Rajan Babu afraid and make him ill. कहते हैं ऐसे लेटर से राजन बाबू डर जाएंगे और बीमार भी हो जाएंगे, and he will be visiting him and taking a high fees, fat fees he will take. And if that happened, he would naturally go to his doctor. So this person will, so then Rajan Babu will go to the doctor and he will pay him the fat fees if he is ill. So that can be the reason. The second person who visited Rajan Babu often was Mr. Ghushal. The second person was Mr. Ghushal, an expert in antiques. So who was Mr. Ghushal? He was an expert in antiques. Antiques, you know, old, पुरानी, बहुत पुरानी चीज़ें जो सेल करता हो. Of late, Rajan Babu had developed an interest in antiques and curios. Curios are rare and unusual things जो कभी दिखती नहीं है, unusual जो अब गायब हो चुकी है, वो चीज़ें उनको शौक हो गया था राजन बाबू को. And collected many masks, daggers and old paintings. और राजन बाबू ने बहुत सारे masks खरीद लिए थे, old paintings खरीद ली थी, daggers, like daggers are the kind of knives he had purchased. So Tinkuri Babu thought Ghushal was a crook. अब Tinkuri Babu को लगता था कि Ghushal is a crook. Crook means a dishonest and cheater. Dishonest person, and he was a cheater also, he thought. Tinkuri Babu thought. I don't trust him at all. He pretends to be interested in art and antiques, but I think what he really wants is to buy them cheap here and sell them to foreigners at much higher rate. So वो बोलता है कि मुझे नहीं लगता कि उनको सच में ही एंटीक्स में कोई इंटरेस्ट है, वो जस्ट ही जस्ट प्रिटेंड्स टू हैव इंटरेस्ट, जस्ट शो करते हैं कि मुझे इंटरेस्ट है। वो जस्ट क्या करते हैं, बिजनेस करते हैं। यहाँ वो लो प्राइस पर खरीद लेते हैं, एंड ही सेल्स इट टू द फॉरेनर्स एट मच हायर रेट। टिंकुरी बाबू हैड टोल्ड फेलूडा व्हेन वी मेट हिम इन द कॉफ़ी शॉप द नेक्स्ट डे। सो अगले दिन जब हम कॉफ़ी शॉप में मिले थे, तब टिंकुरी बाबू ने ये बात बताई थी। नाउ देन ही माइट हैव अ मोटिव इन सेंडिंग द लेटर टू राजन बाबू, said Feluda. Now Feluda says that हाँ, उसका भी कोई मोटिव हो सकता है राजन बाबू को ऐसे लेटर भेजने का, बिकॉज क्या मोटिव हो सकता है, व्हाट कैन बी द रीजन फॉर सेंडिंग द लेटर टू हिम? दैट इज, I learned during my visit to the curio shop today that the shop is going to get some fresh supplies this evening. मैं नया शॉप पर गया था, क्यूरियो शॉप पे, एंटीक्स की शॉप पे गया था, तो एंड दैट आई केम टू नो कि उनके पास फ्रेश स्टॉक आने वाला है। तो I see, exclaimed Tinkuri Babu. A letter like that would naturally frighten Rajan Babu into staying at home for a few days, and Goshal would get to buy all the new pieces. अब टिंकुरी बाबू बोलते हैं, हाँ, अगर राजन बाबू डर जाएंगे वहाँ जाने से, डर जाएंगे तो डर के मारे वो घर पर ही रहेंगे. He will not go to purchase these things, and Mr. Goshal will purchase all the new pieces. Exactly. Our next suspect was Rajan Babu's son. अब third suspect कौन था? It was Rajan Babu's son Prabir Majumdar, who was away, जो घर से भाग गया था. Rajan Babu, it seems, had asked Prabir to leave the house when he was caught stealing money from his father's cupboard. So Rajan Babu ने प्रबीर को घर से बाहर निकाल दिया था when he was caught stealing money, जब वो चोरी करता हुआ पकड़ा गया था अपने पापा की कबर्ड में से. Father and son had not been in contact since. तब से पापा और बेटा कांटेक्ट में नहीं हैं. Feluda's investigation had revealed that Prabir had recently arrived in Darjeeling. Now Feluda ने investigate किया and he came to know that his son Prabir, Rajan Babu's son Prabir, was there in Darjeeling only. This news shocked Tinkuri Babu. Tinkuri Babu को बहुत हैरानी हुई कि oh my God, the son is in the city and he has not come to meet his father. Now Rajan Babu doesn't know that his son is in town, said Tinkuri Babu, and I don't think he should be told. After all, he's already had one shock and. Now Tinkuri Babu says कि we should not tell it to Rajan Babu that his son is in the town, because already he had a shock, और एक और shock लगेगा तो he might get sick. So Prabir has a motive to threaten his father, interrupted Feluda. अब Feluda बोलता है कि now Prabir can also threaten him. Now the case had reached the stage where it had 3 suspects, but no culprit yet. 3 suspects हैं, लेकिन अभी तक पकड़ा नहीं गया कि कौन है. 3 suspects are Dr. Phoni Mitra, Mr. Goshal, and Prabir Majumdar. Now, then something very frightening happened. कुछ बहुत डरावना सा हुआ. Let's see what happened. One morning, we received a message that Rajan Babu wanted to see us urgently, and we rushed to his house. अब एक morning मैसेज आया कि राजन बाबू को बहुत जल्दी उन दोनों से मिलना है. किससे? फेलुडा और टॉपशी से. Now, we found him lying down, looking pale and haggard. Dr. Mitra was by his side, examining him, and Tinkuri Babu was fanning him. So when they reached his house, what was the scene? Mr. Rajan Babu, he was in the bed. He was very weak and worried. Pale means very weak. Haggard means worried. And Dr. Mitra was standing by his side, and he was examining him also. And Tinkuri Babu, he was just fanning him. पंखा चला रहे थे उसके आसपास. Rajan Babu spoke with some difficulty. Rajan Babu बोले, Last night, after midnight, I woke up suddenly, and there it was. Face, masked face. Yes, I saw a masked face. It bent over me. It was horrible. Rajan Babu continued. I can't tell you how I spent the night. वो बहुत डरे हुए थे. बोले कि last night somebody came to my room and he was having a horrible face mask on his face. And I was very afraid last night. बहुत डर गया था. Take it easy, said the doctor. You need complete rest. अब डॉक्टर बोले कोई बात नहीं, आप आराम करो. Everything will be all right. Dr. Mitra, Feluda said suddenly, did you go out last night? Your jacket's got a streak of mud on it. So Feluda पूछते हैं कि डॉक्टर आपकी जैकेट पर थोड़ा सा मड लगा हुआ है, क्या आप रात को बाहर गए थे? तो yes, I did. To see a patient, replied Mr. Mitra. Dr. Mitra बोले yes, मैं गया था बाहर, मुझे एक पेशेंट को देखने जाना था, तो मैं गया था. You can see the scene here. See, Rajan Babu, he is lying in the bed. Tinkuri Babu standing by side. Dr. Mitra examining him, and Feluda and Topsy, they are standing at the back of the doctor. Now, come to the next page, page number 44. Feluda waited for the doctor to leave and then asked Rajan Babu, what did the mask look like? अब Feluda रुका थोड़ी देर कि डॉक्टर चले जाएं और फिर राजन बाबू से पूछा मास्क कैसा था? It was like one of those you see on the wall there. The mask, he pointed out, was most horrendous. So बोले कि वो देखो दीवार पर जो टंगा हुआ है ऐसा ही मास्क था. And it was very scary, very terrifying. Horrendous means very scary. Tinkuri Babu came in after seeing the doctor off and said to us, I'm sorry, but I have to return to Calcutta today. I tried to change my ticket, but they said I can't get a booking off for another 10 days. But before I leave, I will inform the police. Rajan Babu needs protection. Felu Babu, you can continue with your investigation. Nobody will object to that. अब इतने में ही टिंकोरी बाबू डॉक्टर को सी ऑफ करके अंदर आ जाते हैं. एंड अंदर आते ही वो बोलते हैं कि आई हैव टू गो टू कैलकटा, इट्स वेरी अर्जेंट, और अगर मैं नहीं गया, आई ट्राई टू चेंज माई टिकट, बट द टिकट चेंज कुड नॉट बी चेंज्ड बिकॉज फॉर 10 days आई वुड नॉट बी गेटिंग एनी बुकिंग फॉर द टिकट. मुझे और कोई बुकिंग नहीं मिलेगी टिकट की, सो मुझे अभी निकलना होगा. आई एम गोइंग टू इन्फॉर्म द पुलिस और राजन बाबू, बिकॉज राजन बाबू को प्रोटेक्शन चाहिए. Somebody is going to harm him, so he needs protection, and I am leaving. Felu Babu, you can continue with your investigation. Now Feluda and I decided to stay that night at Rajan Babu's house. अब उस रात को मैं और फेलुडा दोनों राजन बाबू के घर में रुक गए. हमने सोचा. Then we went out separately on our work for the rest of the day and got back in the evening to find Rajan Babu but much better. So दिन में हम अपना काम करने चले गए और शाम में जब हम घर आए, Rajan Babu was feeling much better. He showed us to our room. अब राजन बाबू ने हमें हमारा कमरा दिखा दिया कि आप इस रूम में सो जाओ. Now Feluda stretched out on the bed and said, I did some investigation in the afternoon and both Prabir and Ghoshal were at a party from 9 to 3 a.m. 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Feluda बेड पर लेटा और लेटते ही बोला कि मैंने इन्वेस्टिगेशन की थी आफ्टरनून में. सो दोनों प्रबीर और मिस्टर घोषाल वो तो रात को 9 बजे से लेकर 3 बजे तक पार्टी में थे. That man wearing a mask came here soon after midnight, didn't he? I asked. So बोला वो तो रात को मिडनाइट में आया था मास्क वाला मैन, मे बी 12, साढ़े 12, 1 बजे तक. Yes, Feluda said and left the room abruptly. अब जो फेलुडा है ये कह करके एकदम से रूम से भागता है. abruptly means suddenly रूम से बाहर भागता है. I lay on the bed and must have dozed off. और मैं बेड पर लेट गया और शायद मुझे नींद भी आ गई थी. I woke up with a jolt. एकदम झटके से उठा. When I sensed the presence of someone else in the room. My blood froze. I opened my eyes and saw something coming towards me. Oh, how terrible! It was a mask, a masked face. अब क्या हुआ? बोला मुझे नींद आ गई थी, मैं सो गया था और एकदम से मैं झटके से उठा जब मुझे लगा कि रूम में कोई है. My blood froze means I was very scared. I opened my eyes. मैंने eyes खोली and there was somebody in my room. And who was that? It was a masked face. I opened my mouth to scream when the person wearing the mask pulled it away. जब मैं एकदम से चिल्लाने लगा, इतने में ही मास्क वाले आदमी ने अपना मास्क हटा दिया. And my scream became a nervous gasp. Feluda? Oh my God, it's you! वो कहता जैसे ही मास्क हटाया उसके नीचे कौन था? फेलुडा. हो गया फेलुडा ये तुम हो? मीन्स वो स्क्रीम नहीं किया, आराम से बोला हाँ ये तुम हो. So, of course, it's me. He raised the mask. I was trying on all the masks in the living room. Why don't you try this one for a second? मैं कहता कि मैंने जितने भी मास्क थे सब पहन के देखे, इसको ट्राई करो ज़रा. He passed me his mask. I wore it. उसने मुझे मास्क दिया, मैंने पहन लिया. Can you sense something unusual? तुम्हें कुछ अजीब सा नहीं लग रहा इसमें? Why? No. It's a size too large for me. That's all. वो बोला, मुझे तो कुछ नहीं लगा. हाँ, ये बड़ा ज़रूर है मुझे. Okay. Think carefully. Isn't there anything that might strike you as odd? तो इसके अंदर कुछ ऐसा नहीं है जो तुम्हें एकदम अजीब सा लगे? सोचो ध्यान से. Well, there's a faint smell, I think. Of what? चिरूट. Exactly. So क्या होता है? बोलता है कि इसके अंदर थोड़ी सी स्मेल है. वो कहता किसकी? चिरूट की? Yes, exactly. चिरूट की स्मेल है. My heart started to beat faster. Tinkory babu, I stammered. बोला कि मतलब कि एकदम से उनको पता चल गया कि it was Tinkory babu. Feluda sighed. Yes, I'm afraid so. But what I do not understand is in his motive. He seemed to respect Rajan Babu a lot. Why then did he do something like this? Perhaps we shall never know. अब वो कहता है कि फेलूडा बोलता है कि हाँ, मुझे भी ये लगता है, मैं भी डर रहा हूँ इस चीज़ से कि मुझे समझ ही नहीं आया उसका मोटिव क्या है. Because he used to respect Rajan Babu too much. And why should he do such thing? हमें पता ही नहीं चलेगा कभी भी. Rajan Babu was absolutely shaken when we told him about this the next morning. अगले दिन राजन बाबू को जब ये बताया तो he was very surprised. As we were talking, Rajan Babu received a letter. He opened it with trembling hands and read it aloud. अब जब हम बात कर रहे थे एक और लेटर आया उनके पास, तो उन्होंने कांपते हाथों से ट्रेमलिंग हैंड से उसको खोला. What was written there? Dear Raju, if you are wondering who I am and why I did this, here is the story. The letter was from Tinkory Babu, right? So he is asking कि तुम सोच रहे होगे कि मैंने ये ऐसा क्यों किया और मैं कौन हूँ. तो सुनो. I am the boy whom you had tripped in that 100-yard race on our sports day 50 years ago. तब 50 साल पहले मैं वही बॉय हूँ जिसको तुमने ट्रिप्ड मीन्स अड़ंगी दे करके 100-yard रेस में गिरा दिया था. I not only missed the medal in that race but was also seriously injured. So सिर्फ मेरा मेडल ही नहीं गया था उसमें मेरे हाथ से, बट मुझे बहुत चोट भी आई थी. Unfortunately, my father got transferred to a different town soon after the incident and I never got a chance to have a showdown with you. So बोला कि मैं बदला नहीं ले पाया because my father was shifted to a new town soon after the incident. That is why I could not take revenge. So you never realized how deeply you had hurt me, both physically and mentally. So तुम्हें कभी भी अपनी गलती का एहसास ही नहीं हो पाया कि तुमने मुझे कितना हर्ट किया था, फिजिकली भी और मेंटली भी. I didn't know about you till I came to stay in your house and saw your childhood photograph. तो जब मैं तुम्हारे घर आया था मुझे नहीं पता था कि तुम वही हो. जब मैंने तुम्हारी बचपन की फ़ोटो देखी तब मुझे याद आया. And then I thought of doing something that would cause you a great deal of anxiety and trouble you for a short time. So फिर मैंने सोचा कि मैं कुछ ऐसा करता हूँ जिससे तुम थोड़ी देर के लिए परेशान हो जाओ. I meant to do no harm. मैं तुम्हें कोई नुकसान नहीं पहुँचाना चाहता था. This was my way of punishing you and your past sins. So now that's over. Let's forget about it and move on with our lives. चलो कहता बस हो गया जो होना था. Now we'll move with our own lives. Right? So with good wishes, yours sincerely, Tinkory Mukhopadhyay. So it was a Danger in Darjeeling written by Satyajit Ray. So now let's come to the exercise part. This is page number 46, A part. The speaker told Feluda about the conversation he overheard because क्यों बताया था? It did not seem like an ordinary conversation. C part. Rajan Babu had taken Tinkuri Babu as a paying guest because क्यों लिया था उसको? Because a friend had asked Rajan Babu to do so. Mr. Ghoshal was a suspect. क्यों उस पे शक हुआ? Because Tinkuri Babu found him untrustworthy. बोले कि वो मुझे dishonest लगता है. Rajan Babu and his son Prabir had not seen each other. क्यों नहीं देखते थे एक दूसरे को? From the time Rajan Babu had caught him stealing money. जब से वो चोरी करता पकड़ा गया, तब से वो एक दूसरे से नहीं मिले. Feluda wore the mask because he wanted to see if this would lead to any clues. कोई इसको क्लू मिलेंगे इससे. Tinkuri Babu wanted to punish Rajan Babu. Tinkuri Babu उसको पनिश करना चाहते थे. क्यों Rajan Babu को? Because Rajan Babu cheated and won the race. Rajan Babu's actions caused Tinkuri Babu to suffer greatly. No, this is this one, not this one, beta. This is wrong. I feel this is wrong. Answer should be this one. Rajan Babu's actions caused Tinkuri Babu to suffer greatly. Right? Now come to page number 49. Words in use. We'll do this part. So children, using ing, ed or en forms of the correct verbs in the box, we will make them. And we will fill them in the blanks. Falling down from the ladder was a dash experience. So it was frightening. We went to the amusement park and then went to see a film. It was an exciting evening. From excite, we made exciting. The newly painted fence and gate give a new look to the house. Then the surprising thing was that she came first in the race in spite of the injury. The illuminating was kites looked like floating stars in the sky. The captain gave her team a very inspiring speech. I need to call a carpenter to fix the broken chair. Will you help me fix a translated copy of this book? So children, you can see here how these are made. We can use ing, ed and en forms of verbs as adjectives before nouns. So before the nouns, we are making them the adjectives. We have made adjectives, right? Hope your chapter is done and you have understood the chapter as well as the exercise part, what we have done here. Question answers will be shared to you soon.